All right, good morning, everyone. Sorry, just trying to get this water retention under control, which I have not been able to do. It is like, this is insane. Um, like folds in my forehead. So, look at this. The voices, I went to sleep last night at 10 a.m. The voices woke me up around 1:30. Sorry, I'm wheezing. It feels like someone's squeezing my lungs. I don't smoke, I don't drink. Um, so last night, they woke me up at 1 o'clock, 1:30, kept me up from 1:30 to 3:30, screaming hysterically. I felt acid reflux, nausea. I felt lightheadedness. Oh my gosh, that my head was so off. It felt like my blood pressure dropped and like I could have collapsed at any moment. Um, and the voices were just hysterically screaming, telling me, go die, over and over again. I should have actually checked myself into the hospital, which I'm considering doing today or tomorrow. I'm not sure, maybe even next week. If it continues, I'm trying to gauge as to when it's serious enough to go, because I've gone to the hospital so many times and um, it's becoming ridiculous. I almost sound like a hypochondriac. So I'm trying to just gauge what's appropriate to call an emergency versus what's not. I felt like last night absolutely was. Uh, and Yeah, I wake up this morning. Oh, and so this week I had planned. So aside from that, I had planned to go to work. My condo's clean. I vacuum shine. My kids are at school. I have my daughter's tutoring lined up. I have everything together. My kids are all taken care of. Registration's done. Car registration, school registrations for my son who's in college. Everything's good and gravy. Um, and I'm like, oh, great. I can get back to the gym and get back to work and just go back to my daily routine, start seeing progress again. So that way I can move on with this chapter of my life, see progress in it rather than, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my chest. I have allergies, so it might be built up allergies. Um, so I was thinking, great. I've been seeing a therapist, I've been seeing a psychiatrist, I've been seeing a neurologist. Um, Now things are kind of moving along, but I want to get back to work. I want to see if I can work because I've been struggling at work. So I'm hoping that the medications, um, you know, are doing me right. I want to see how I perform at work. And every day this week, the voices have either kept me up all night long, literally from 10 to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then they dull down. Um, and then it's like, and then I still hear them throughout the day because what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'll keep myself up. And I'm like, okay, the next night I'm going to be too exhausted to stay up. So I'll end up staying up all day. And they did it again. The voices were just so hysterical, screaming, as if they're intentionally trying to sabotage my week. Then my daughter calls me and they keep saying my daughter's name, like Leah. Oh, you got to go check on Leah. And then my daughter calls me. It's the oddest, like like my voices are prophets or something. They know exactly what's going on. She's with her dad. I have no idea what's going on. Um, they're like, oh, Leah. So, of course, I get like, shortly after I get calls. This happens to me all the time. It's so weird. Like immediately from the time that they say my daughter's name, and I'll be in the middle of something and not quite thinking about my daughter. I mean, she's always on my mind, but we have things to do. We have to divide our time. So I'm doing what I had planned to do. And then all of a sudden, right as I'm getting ready to get started on something like a small project or get to work or go to the gym, my daughter calls me. There's always a problem. She's not feeling well. She's exhausted from insomnia. Her and her dad are at odds. She doesn't her dad's car isn't working. I mean, every single time. And it's like, and then it's arguments with my ex-husband, and it turns into this snowball of like, immediately when I'm trying to start moving on and moving forward with my life. The voices want me sick. I keep having this acid reflux. So I don't know if you know anything about acid, but the acid from your stomach can deteriorate your teeth. So I've been feeling so much like nausea and acid reflux. Like I have to actually gargle and brush my teeth throughout the day. And every time, and they're like, "Oh, are you feeling nauseous?" When I'm brushing my teeth or doing anything, the voices are louder. When I'm showering, anything to like keep up with my hygiene, which I'm OCD about. They are just overly, it's like my voices are overly active. If I go see, and then it's like they want to trap me, like, okay, your daughter's here and you're here and you have no one to help you. Let's get even more aggressive with, whatever this condition is. They're in my head. Their voices in my head. They're intentional. They're weird. And it's like, "Oh, you can't go to the hospital now. Your daughter's here by herself." And oh, what a coincidence. Your son is out busy. And oh, your husband's not going to take her because he's on a trip with his girlfriend. And your mom is tired. And what's going on in my head is absolutely abnormal. I mean, not just the voices. It's what they're saying and how things are playing out as the days are going. I'm taking my medications. I'm doing everything I need to. I am far from a drug addict. I'm far from I don't even like alcohol. I don't even like smoking. I love my kittens, so I'm willing to deal with allergies. Aside from that, there's nothing. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't like that stuff. I don't entertain it. I don't like people who do it. Not that I don't like people who do it. I just don't like being around people when they're doing it. If they enjoy doing it, it's not my cup of tea. It's not fun for me. I don't find it enjoyable. I'm a day person. I like hiking. I like going to the movies. I like doing things and being involved with people, and I want it to be a smoke-free environment. Yeah, I quit. So here's a disclaimer. I used to smoke and I stopped smoking, and I stopped cold turkey. And I was so happy that I had done that because my face cleared up, my skin, like you could see my complexion changed, everything changed. I was so much better. And honestly, when they say for alcoholics, refrain from being in those environments, not to say that you're tempted to, but truly, it's honestly, it's why even be in an environment that encourages something that you've worked so hard to drop. It doesn't even make sense. So for me, it's not even avoidance. I just don't like it. And it's done me well because I don't have anybody smoking in my environment, so I'm not inhaling any smoke. And yeah. So anyways, back to the voices. They're weird. They are weird. I hear men and women voices between the ages of 25 and up. I want to say 55, maybe 60, probably 60. And they alternate shifts. What it sounds like is that, so this is what it sounds like. They're on alternate shifts, and one of the women voices the women always are the ones to say, "I want her to die. I want to watch her die." As if she's in a room with someone else who has access to a telepathy weapon that can sit there and shock my mind as easily as he can talk into my head. And sure enough, she'll say that, and I will have I'll have dizzy spells. Um, I'll have slurred speech. My eyes will blur. My eyes get red. My circulation's off. I get this blotchiness all over my skin. And it's just like they're having a conversation. They're in the same room, but each one has a computer or something in front of it that has, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like this. Crazy or not, I'm going to explain. Um, they each have this telepathy software or permissions to a sophisticated technology that isn't quite, hasn't been tweaked completely to protect people from the general public from attacks by it. And so they have access to it because it's like part of national security, or certain people have clearances to use it because they have assets that they need to make sure are, they're not being, I don't know, someone isn't stealing their money or whatever the case is. And it sounds like they are so each one assigned to a computer that is assigned to an account that is to say that has this telepathy capability and much more to just control a human mind, basically. And each one is sitting in this room together, and they're just conversating, telling each other to do it from another one's computer. So maybe one will do it and then another one will do it. But whoever has made claims against me to say that, and it sounds like this, that they made claims to say I'm a terrorist or whatever the case is, that they can't directly shock me. So it sounds like the woman voices are the ones responsible for, this is what it sounds like. Please listen to me. Listen to me till the end. They're responsible for monitoring me or investigating me. And instead of doing that, she turns to her friend who also has this telepathy mind control weapon and says, I want her to die. And then he shocks my mind with it, with his account, or from it. And then maybe they alternate and there's like 2 or 3 of them doing it. I have no idea. And that goes on consistently all day, every day. I mean, every second of the day, every second literally of the day. So, and then they're sitting there saying that they know when I'm going to die. They know when I'm going to die. That there are statutes of limitations on medical records, and statutes of limitations on criminal records that they want to clear, and that basically from all the shocks to my mind and to my body and all the times that I've felt like I was in a critical state, and the clearance of these records are supposed to align, and I'm just supposed to just die right at that time. And then they're just free to go. And then, and not just that, it's that, and they want that to happen. And then to steer me like literally away from everything, from driving, from being involved with, social media, from discussing this, trying to tell me, oh, how embarrassing. People are going to say that it's going to ruin your career. It's going to ruin your career, Renee, if you tell people that you hear voices in your head. I mean, they say some of the most absurd things I have ever flippin' heard in my goddamn life. They'll say things like, oh, the medications for antipsychotic medications will give you a heart attack. They give you suicidal thoughts. Take one and see. Oh, what will they say? I want to die. I want to die, as if they're implanting these thoughts in my mind. But the thing is, my actual voice doesn't have a voice in my head. So I've been like playing these little games where I just think of things spontaneously, try to see if the voice, in fact, can catch up with my mind. And because it can't predict what I'm going to say or do or see, it's very hard to pick up every thought that I have. And we have like, what do they say? You like shoot off like 400 or 1,000 per second or something, because your mind's like constantly reading like images, like just in you're just constantly reading, and just its processing speeds are much faster than someone can read. So I'll test it out and I'll say, I'll look at things, I'll go outside, I'll change up my environment just to get, my brain working and seeing things that, unless they've gone, like they've used this weapon to surveil the surrounding area, they wouldn't know that I was going to see. And then, that's for me, that like the freeway is the best way to go, because you hop on the freeway, all kinds of cars coming and going. They can't really assess who's there, what employees are there, to kind of predict, with some accuracy as to what's going to happen. So I typically like to go on a drive, just look at the cars, look at their license plates, not to say I'm being weird, but read off the letters and kind of just get my mind going, see how quickly they're reading my thoughts. And I saw that there was a gap between the voice and my actual my inner voice. And I was like, oh, whoa, this is because they've been so like, feels like had so much control over my mind, this was actually came at a shock to me. And so I was able to, now I'm able to do these little practices where I basically disconnect myself from them. And I can hear I forgot where I was going with this. Sorry, I'd have to replay this entire video to myself just to pick up where I left off, and I can't continue it. But all that to say, that's how I identified my own voice from theirs, and how I've been able to maintain and continue to move forward. But now I'm feeling sick. I feel like someone's trying to trap me. She keeps saying, I want them in a casket. Like she wants me trapped. And trapped may mean more than one person in the room with her that has this telepathy weapon. I mean, to box you in, it takes 4 people. So maybe there are 4 people in the room, maybe 5. I mean, I always hear 5 to 6 voices, and then I'll hear like, those are like the consistent ones. And then I'll hear like random voices I haven't heard before throughout my day. In my head, and I'm constantly recording the sounds in my environment just to get an idea of what's going on around me, make sure I'm safe, make sure there's actually nothing going on around me. So there's a lot of safety protocols because I'm in such a vulnerable state. I'll remain in front of cameras as often as I can in public places, because it's anything that's done or heard is captured on the camera. And so am I. So it's just, there is no discrepancy as to where I was and what was going on around me. And my mental state, in case I ever freak out and start to assume something that it's not. And yeah, so just wanted to say, this is literally every day what I'm going through. The women's voices are the most disgusting voices I've ever heard. Not the voice themselves, but the things they've said are so beyond disturbing. I mean, I would literally, thank God I'm self-aware and I have some control, and I always get scared that, one of these days I'll lose consciousness, or God forbid something happen to me, because I don't know how this condition progresses. But as of now, I'm self-aware, and truly I would sentence them to death. Like the way they sound, they are so disturbing, threatening, psychotic, not in sync at all with my mood. Like I could be in the best mood. I wake up and it's like a beautiful day, and they're just like, go die, go die. Like the second they see my endorphins shooting, off or whatever. My synapse is like going off and like there's some type of bliss in my mind. And it's like, go die, go, and hysterically screaming, saying, oh, we want your daughter and your son and your mom to get sick and die too. You're going to be the cause of it because of all your problems. I mean, it is ridiculous. The voices that I hear, the women's voices are so beyond disturbing. It's not even funny. I would have sentenced them to death a long time ago. I mean, I have to be honest. I have to be honest about what I hear. It is insanity. Anyways, just so that you guys kind of get an idea, and this is kind of weird, but